this class is all about functions in TypeScript, and what is lambda, and how do we execute the lambda functions, and what is the scope of it. So let us understand what exactly is a function and how do we define a function in TypeScript. Are we following TypeScript code and compilation, or directly so here I am creating a types function. Here I am creating functions in the TypeScript, and let us see this. Functions TypeScript .ts, and here I am writing a function. How to write a TypeScript function? Very normal. Function ABC and the bracket, and var x, and x is equal to 100. Console.log of x, and I need to call the function. There is no difference at all. Okay, so you need not to worry about it. So normally, whatever the way we define functions in the JavaScript, the same way you can define the functions here. So how do we compile it? TypeScript functions TypeScript.ts. TypeScript is not recognized as, okay, TSC functions TypeScript. Yes, perfect. Now how do we run it? Node functions.js. I got that. So normally, whatever the way we write in the JavaScript, the same way we can we can do it in the TypeScript. But TypeScript have some better, advantages. You can annotate your functions. What do you mean by annotate? You can decorate. You can mention what is the return type. Here, this function doesn't have the return type, right? The return type of this function is basically void. Is it possible void? Because this function is not returning anything, so you can mention its return type as void. But how do we mention that void? So by after your function name and the parenthesis, you just put a colon and say void. So this syntax specifies it is going to return nothing. So this is the correct syntax for now, right? Okay, and then suppose if I have a function called add. Function add of, there are two variables x and y which will receive, and return x plus y. So definitely this function is going to return a number. So what would be the return type of this function? This should be number, and I say var k is equal to add of 10 comma 30, and console.log of k. Now if you see the output, it's 40. It's well and good. Now come back. What happens if, okay, here if I define the k as string, and I'm assigning addition of 10 and 30 to k. Already I have defined addition return type is number, and I am returning it to a string. So definitely it will throw an error. Before execution of the code itself, it throws an error. See there, type number is not assignable to type string. So annotations help us to check whether we are doing the program in a right direction or not. So this annotation helps us like that. Sometimes we may pass different values. I thought of passing two numbers, but with mistake I have passed a string. Then your function should not accept it, but if it is accepted, then it's a big problem, isn't it? Sir, try to imagine a program called banking management system. for for a value, some you have to enter some value over there, and you are entering some number. You have to enter a number. Instead of number, you have entered a also. Unfortunately, it took it. Then you just imagine, it took it and you have submitted, and you have received a statement as your money what you say, money deducted, but ticket failed, like that. Something like that, money deducted but you can't access the money, something like that, because you have entered a wrong input. Then you have to go to the bank, you have to say so many things, you have to give a letter, and those letters will be checked and processed after some time. So before that, you should have a proper mechanism to check your input and output, right? So in that process, this TypeScript is helping us in a very well way, a very good way. So here x can be mentioned as a number, and y can also be mentioned as a number. So this is what I'm calling it as annotation. Okay, do you annotate yourself, Dushyant? Have you ever annotated yourself?
Annotated in the sense, I mean,
Yeah, that is what I am asking. What is annotation in your daily life? You wear an ID card.
yeah, ID card.
That is your annotation. I am from Tech
Yeah.
Mahindra. I am from Wipro. I am from Infinity. Even that bag is also having an annotation. Infinity Labs. Even this bag is also having an annotation. Dell. This
Yes.
laptop is having an annotation. Asus. Even that add X is also having an annotation. Number. X is a number. Add return type is number. So that is what called annotation. Hope you understood annotation.
Yes.
If I say r is equal to add of 10 comma 20, console dot log of r. Anyways, this is an error. Okay, I just want to convert it into the number. You will be having a different error now. What is error? Function
R is not
r cannot found. R is not found. Okay, Babu. Uh,
yes.
where r? Yes, sir. R is not found. It's clear. Then, right? This is the only error. Argument of type 20 is not assignable to parameter of type number. Basically, a string cannot be assigned to number. So you have to mention it. I I read so many books on this particular concept called annotation and defining the data type. Believe me, annotation. Please understand this. Okay, next. Once the annotation is over, we have to go to the next level. That is, let us that is called as functions. Same function add of x. I don't want to annotate it right now. You just go through the thing. You have to do this at your real time. Okay, if you have a programming test in your company, you have to follow all these standards. 60% of the time we are rejecting the people because their uh, coding standards are not right. Indentation, the worst indentation I have ever seen. I will carry you to your company also. Even in your company I will show you poor annotation, poor indentation. मतलब कहाँ शुरू किया, where they have started and where they have ended, there is no meaning at all. Okay, so they're all rejected 60% of the time because of that. Even companies are okay with if you have very basics but your standards are good, then we will get a feeling that ki you may learn one day properly. Okay, so here I'm just, to avoid the complexity, I'm just plainly using as return x plus y, and now I'll call the function directly in the console add of 10 comma 20, and then if I run the program, if I compile the program, no errors, and run that, output is 30 is visible. Now what happens if I pass console dot log of add of 10 comma 20 comma 30? It will be an error. Why? Function is defined only for 2 parameters and you are passing 3 parameters. Sorry, yeah. So console.log of expected 2 parameter arguments but got 3. So let us suppose expected 2 arguments but got 3. These are all arguments. What are these parameters? Okay, let us have one more parameter. Then what happens? The error shifted to this line because expected 3 arguments but got only 2. How can I resolve this problem? If I have passed it, it should be accepted. If I don't pass it, it should not be, I mean, it should not be considered. So for that, there is an option in the TypeScript called optional parameters with this question mark. If you have a parameter with question mark, that is optional. If you pass it, that will be considered. If you don't pass it, it won't even considered. You got my point? Yes. Let us save it and compile it. You get a NaN, of course, but there is no error. First of all, you have to understand it as there is no error. NaN, because I am not passing any number, so it is considered as a not a number. I mean, here it is considered as not a number. It will be considered as undefined. If you see what is the value of z, it is undefined. So what do I do is, if z is not equal to un, un undefined, do this. What? X plus y plus z. Else return, I will write else part also. Else return x plus y. If it is undefined, z is undefined, then you have to mention as only if z is, sorry, not triple equal to. Let us see the output. Now the output is 30. and 60. Why 30? 10 plus 20 is equal to 30, and 10 plus 20 plus 30 is equal to 60. You got the optional parameter? Absolutely right. Dushyant, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine.
But this is little bit tricky. I would like to write the same code with another process. So instead of using an optional parameter, I will use a default parameter, so that I don't need to write this else part and if part. If I don't pass any value, the z value will be considered as 0. If I don't pass any value, the z value will be considered as 0, and directly it will execute it. You just see the change of the length, how much it got reduced. Save and execute the code, you get the same output. 30 and 60. No need, na. If I don't pass any value to z, if I don't pass the third variable, then the value will be considered as 0. It simplifies much issues, much bigger issues. But what this is called as default parameters. They have a default value. If you don't pass them, you can make use of that particular value. But you have to make use of this default parameters and optional parameters only at the end of your parameter list. Don't use it in the starting or middle. It should be in the end of the list, end of the parameter list. Hope you understood this point.
Yes.
These will these are all very small points. I can actually explain you in the Angular directly also, but the problem there will be, already the concept is overloaded. At that time, even these concepts come into the middle, right? Then it will be a different case to you. That is why I try my best to clarify here itself. Next, there is one beautiful concept that is called as, if you pass more than 2 3 extra parameters, it is not possible to put so many default parameters, isn't it? For example, if you want to add 10 20 30 40 50 60 70, then those many variables cannot be created. First of all, should not be created. Even if you have created, if add is having only two numbers to be added, then, so that is the complexity. So for that, there is a new concept called rest parameters. Okay, so let us see the rest parameters. Function add of a comma b comma triple dot c. So the rest parameter starts with triple dot c. So now I just want to do something like this. I'll show you console.log of c. I just want to show you what is there in the c. If I pass add 10 comma 20, then what is the c? And if I pass add 10 11 22 33 44 55, then what is there in the c? If I add 99 88 77, what is there in the c? Fine, all the examples would be covered over here. So now if I execute this code, compile first and then execute it. So I'm just printing the c. So for the first add call, what is there in my in the C, it is an empty array. For the second time, it is having 33, 44, and 55. Third time, it is having 77 and 77. So C maintains as an array. All the rest parameter, I mean, rest of all things will be maintained as an array. It's not just useful, it's very useful. Clear, sir? Yeah. So you can make use
Yes.
of this C for addition, subtraction, and blah blah blah. Okay. I want you to write a program, write a function to add, perform addition by using rest parameters. I have given you the syntax. You just think over it. How do we perform the addition of all these numbers using rest parameters? Please take down the assignment. Write a sort function. Book pen is better. Okay, don't write anything. I will write down the assignments on my paper. Write a Typescript function to add 8 to add 8 arguments using rest parameters. Second, write a Typescript function to sort the arguments passed. Is it okay? So these two should be implemented today. You can take a picture out of it. Now we are going to see the lambda functions. There is nothing, in fact. It is just a normal function which is reduced syntax, which is having a reduced set of syntax, where I can define a function like this, where add is equal to a function x comma y, which will return x plus y. Imagine this is my function. Can I do it? If I write console.log of add of 10 comma 45, will it give me the output? Yeah, 55 is here. Now I would like to write another function which is called where sum with lambda function syntax. With a lambda function syntax. You just see this. In the lambda function syntax, I don't need to put any name called function. Just use the brackets directly, eliminate this function keyword, and in that I'll directly pass the two parameters. And I'll make use of an arrow. This is called as lambda, I can say. And then your regular return x plus y. So the first step I have introduced you is you can eliminate and avoid the function keyword. Remaining things is same. So instead of console.log of add, I can call sum of 99 comma 88 77 or anything. Let us run the code. It is 176. So is my sum function working? Sum is a normal function or a lambda function? It's a lambda function. I have defined the sum in the way of lambda functions. For your surprise, you can also eliminate this return statement also. If you have only one statement to execute, then if you have only one statement to execute and that is also a return statement, then you can eliminate this also. Let me write like this, where difference is equal to x comma y, which is a lambda function and which returns x minus y. Shall we see the output? So instead of sum, I will go with difference of 99 comma 77. I eliminated the curly brackets as well as the return statement, provided it is having only one statement that is also a return statement. Answer is 22. So what is the size from where we have reduced it to this level? Okay, I have one more reduction also. Wanna see? Wanna try? Okay. If you have only one parameter to be accepted, only one argument should be accepted, then you don't even want that. I need the parenthesis. For example, I have a function called inc10 just returns the increment of 10, increment by 10. So in this case it is equal to, it takes only one parameter. Yes or no? If I pass 22, it should give me 32. If I pass 1, it should give me 11. If I pass 25, it should give me 35. That is the job of inc10. So here in this case, I will just take only one parameter. So that is x, and which will do what? It will return x plus 10. Shall we call that function? Console.log of inc10 of 99. Shall we see this output? So what is the length and what is this length? These functions are called as lambda functions. In fact, I am very much comfortable with this syntax also. But in production, I never write that syntax. I write only this syntax. I know this. I know this very well, but I don't use it. It's not so easy to really understand by the end developer. But I'm openly I'm saying in the production I use only this syntax. Even if it is only one line of statement, yes sir, I'll do this. In most of the cases, we have only one parameter to be received. I mean, only one parameter in the function definition. One argument should be received. Still, I use this syntax. No shy, because I'm comfortable and it is more verbose. I mean, at least it's verbose. Is it clear? Understand? Yeah? Okay, good, good, good. Okay. So this is about lambda functions. There is a huge implication. I mean, without lambda functions, it is not possible with Angular, because in the scope there is a difference between normal function syntax and the lambda syntax. In terms of scope, there is a very huge difference between function syntax and lambda syntax. I will explain when you come to the class syntax. You just wait till that time. So now once we have done with this lambda functions, we have to understand what are spread parameters. It's a simple topic. I will conclude it today by that. So here we go. Spread parameters. Imagine where A is equal to an array of 10, 20, 30. And I have one more array called where X, where B is equal to. Can I make use of A, comma 44, 55? What happens with this? So let me see console.log of B. So yeah, that A got inserted, no doubt in it. It's placed. But the problem with this is it inserted as an array. But if I use a spread parameter, what I have used in the rest parameters, if I use the same spread parameter with a array, it won't insert as an array. It will insert only the values. Shall we see it? Where C is equal to, now I am using triple dot A comma 99 comma 77. Ah, again that problem comes because A is not a spread. Okay, so here if I console.log of C, what is the output I am going to get? So only the values have been replaced, but not the array. So the spread parameter replaces the values, not the. Matlab, it won't replace the exact copy over there. It will be passing only the values of it. This is the purpose of spread parameter. This is the essence of the entire textbook. Okay, this is what why we are using in the real time. Understood the concept? Yes. Understood the process? Yes. So today we have covered so many issues. One is annotating the function. Another one is what is what else? Optional parameters, default parameters, rest parameters, lambda function, different syntaxes, and then finally we have done with the spread operator. These are all basic things. What do we use in the TypeScript? Clear?
Yeah.
Very good. Next, I will be going with the class. You can also create classes in TypeScript, where JavaScript doesn't have this feature. Now it is having, I mean, ECMAScript 6 provided that feature in JavaScript, but still, TypeScript is having the concept called class. Whatever we are doing in the class, we were doing the same things with functions in JavaScript. What do you mean by that? Encapsulation. What is encapsulation? What is encapsulation? Okay. Encapsulation is binding the properties and methods together in a block, in a single entity is called as encapsulation. Wrapping up of data and methods is called as encapsulation. I hope you have heard about this definition somewhere, isn't it? So encapsulation would be done by functions in JavaScript, because JavaScript doesn't have classes. If JavaScript has classes, then it must have done everything with a class only, isn't it? Right? So that is possible with the TypeScript. And let us write the class definition, class A, and inside this class A I can create properties. I can create properties, not variables. I am mentioning this point again and again and again. You can't create a variable here. Where X, no, not allowed. If you want to define a property, you just define it. For example, first name is the property. Last name is the property. And then you cannot define functions. You have to define methods. How do we define methods? Get full name is the method. You should not use the keyword called function. If you use the function keyword, then it becomes a function. It won't be a method. So these two are called as properties, and this is called as method. So I can have it like this. This dot first name plus this dot last name, written. Okay, but how do I create the objects? I can create the objects for the class A like this, where A1 is equal to new A of A1 dot first name is equal to Praveen, and A1 dot last name is equal to Gubbala. And now if I call get full name function, it will return the first Praveen and Gubbala. So console.log of A1 dot get full name, because methods and properties can be accessed only through the object but not through any other way. So now if I compile the function, it give me the Praveen Gubbala. This is how I can define function classes in TypeScript. Is it clear? Is it okay? Yeah. Now I just want to conclude this class with a small point that is called as I told you, these functions, lambda functions, are having some scope advantage. Okay. So now let me define, I can define a function inside a method. I can define a variable inside a method, but not outside the, I mean outside the method, and I mean to say inside the class directly. Of course, even method is also inside the class only, but still directly you can't declare a variable or a function in the class. So here in the get full name, I am trying to have a function. Yes, I can have it, function abc, adc in fact. Okay, in this I just want to use the console.log of this dot first name, and I call adc. What is output I am going to get? uh, First of all, it is not an error. I'm saying it is coming as ADC undefined. That means it is unable to access the first name because I have defined it as in a function. Whenever you create a function, it creates its own this. It creates its own scope. So the parent scope is not accessible inside the function. Please note down this point. Parent scope cannot be accessed inside the function. Few years back, I have wasted almost all 8 hours only because of this. I was writing a callback function without this uh, lambda functions, and I'm trying to access the class methods and properties, which was not happening. Okay, so now this is possible. Suppose if I convert this function into a lambda function, then it is possible. How do I convert this function into a lambda function? Very simple. Where ADC is equal to bus. Now if you execute the code, here it is. Is the properties of the class accessible now inside ADC? Yes. Even though it is a function, the class properties are accessible in that function. But this is only possible with lambda functions. Okay, this is not possible with normal functions, especially at the time of asynchronous programming or callback mechanism. You definitely need to define a callback function. In the callback function, definitely you need to update the class properties. In such cases, you need the lambda function. Again, in our Angular classes, I will show you one more example where then you will be very much clear about the lambda functions. Clear, Dushyant?
Yes.
Any doubts? Have
I
I?
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, normal function don't allow this, but why lambda function allows this particular accessing of the properties of the class?
Why? In the sense this is created only because for that particular feature. Why? In the sense you
Okay.
need it. You need that feature. Okay, because you are asking me,
Yeah.
I will let you know. I'll go with one more function. There is a what is a back door entry for accessing the class properties in the function also. There is a backdoor entry, but I wanted to hide it. But anyways, I can't do the data abstraction. Okay, let me write the function xyz. Okay, and here I want to access the last name. So if I run it, I mean, it's okay. I had to call the xyz also. If I compile it and run it, xyz undefined, last name is not accessible inside the xyz function because it is a normal function. Is there any workaround? Yes, sir. Create a variable var t, make it assignable with this. This is not accessible, but t is accessible inside this. So now whatever there in the this, that is also available in t. So I can make use of, instead of this, I can make use of t
Yeah.
dot last name. Gubala is back, but it's not appropriate, right? I mean, it's not so good. Assigning this to t is not good. So to resolve this issue, they created a new concept called lambda functions.
Lambda
They
functions.
did it, but they confused so many people. I mean, what is this lambda? As soon as they hear that word lambda, they will be in the panic state. Heart attack आ जाता है second time. Okay, so is it okay, Dushyant? Everything is clear now?
Yeah.
So from
Yes.
tomorrow we are going to start the Angular classes. I mean Angular application development. Okay, be prepared
Okay.
and ready for more exercises from tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.